7 days at sea, journal, butterflies, no personality, seasickness. Red Century notebook, poem about boats built with skill, care, but now abandoned. Picked up for a day fishing for lobster, for fun, but they don't provide. Circumstances and desire ask for more. A welcoming body is not made ill by its visitors. And absorbs its visitors into itself or makes them at home, accommodates them, a simple receptiveness, responding with the self in the self or pushing away, but not just swelling in impatient resentment. This is an idea only. Situations or occasions to unmake us, a choreographic situation to resist the optimum viewing point. Journal of days at sea. After sleeping so much yesterday, I didn't sleep much during the night and woke with a sore throat and a pain in my chest. Always listing the time she sleeps to and from, the time of lunch, of dinner, the time of her cabin inspection. Sentimentality is a falsification of emotion. Sentimentalism is dishonesty about feeling, but whatever is anything else, I'd like to know, you too, you'd like to know if you're reading this book, I suppose. I went out of myself so far as I couldn't get back, and there I was, and there was me, the two of us quite separate. When does a thistle become a mysterious object? A love little matter, its coat so warm, and if it doesn't hurt me, it'll do me no harm. Life is inconsistent, that is what life is, and yet people refuse it, a continual swell, a surge. I was thinking about that man, you know who I mean, Jesus. What do you think about him, really? Do you think he was a complete fraud? Crowded into dreams, giant fairs and vast landscapes, occupy, have a moment, time is elastic. People do anything like... Do you like this look I'm making for you, have made? It isn't easy to know what war is without having been in one. Of course, I used to get those mad impulses towards fashionableness too. The difference gets more and more recognizable. Anyone could lapse at any time, I suppose. But it's not in sin nor in fall in either sense, not in vitro, they're in vivo. That's really why I don't get so very close. The monstrosity comes from something quite ordinary, seeming to be extraordinary, a kind of lurid unusualness. In a way, those who are apparently nearer are more difficult to meet. Different kinds of people, there are different kinds of people. I don't want to ever have to say goodbye again. There has been too much separation. It goes on all the time, and in a sense it's what life consists of, and what is necessary is acceptance of the separation when it's inevitable. Refusal or insistence on unnatural separation, insisted on in anger or in fear, and perhaps an attempt at logicality, is what causes the inner split, separation of the self from the self. Things become very apparent. The eyes aren't looking so much as something else altogether, emitting or engulfing. I never know quite which it is. They have a terrible blankness in them, and at the same time a sort of calculating, a look emitting, but not of planned antagonism. Something with Shetland ponies, perhaps, riding up the stairs because someone has read about this in a book, but several ponies. The flowers, a girl with their names, there is a pause by the musicians. She shows him she's young. These grow my grave, she says. How do you know, he asks, and she gives him a look. The mythology, of course, is a bit muddled, but why should that matter? Interpretations, other people's interpretations of what I say or think are nearly always wrong, mistaken, gossip with a ladder at the window. Journal of days at sea. After sleeping so much yesterday, I didn't sleep much during the night and woke with a sore throat and a pain in my chest. A curious moment with the butterflies. I suppose they might as well spend their one day of life at sea as anywhere else, to find a place, of the feeling of being in a place with the sense this gives one, not of restriction, but of the infinite variations available, voluntary variations according to viewpoint. The word is what contorts and distorts rather than conveys and confirms. I love the word too. The trouble is that the hearers and readers have to love it too, or they don't fondle the word into their understanding. They hold it out there and polish it, keep it separate from themselves and call it a principle. They use it to explain with, but not to understand. Facts exist, whether I know them or not. It is not the collection of facts, but the reverence of facts. The actual thing itself, though, not the rolling out of the great under consciousness. The emancipation of feeling the feeling that is its counterpart, its correspondence. There is often more than one reason for mistaken meaning. A similarity in sounds often has a significance other than chance. Okay, I'll give you that one. The circumstance of chance can surrealistically link words or facts with surprising relevance. Words come out of something quite deep in human wear and tear. Suppressed pain splits the self from knowledge, both mind and heart. Are both split, or is it one is split from the other in this state of detachment from the self? I don't think so, for it makes it into that leaving the islands theme. The sound of the footsteps in the street. Creak up, creak down, crack up, crack down. The bright plants grow low. Down below runs the burn, through the heather, the rushes, the grass, down past the old camp there and off towards Orkle Farm and out to the sea and Scapa. Try adding to this score a spontaneous idea for someone or everyone in the room. You don't have to answer this, I've just run out of blank paper. The healing, the making whole, the spell, S-P-E-L-L, denials and silences destroy, fact is done and remains, not only the word perpetuates, all that is perpetuated anyway, in the ether, in the odour, in the germplasm. Things always get killed by what we start imagining ourselves as. What is it that happens? Do you stop growing? Is it that last that all the peace and acceptance at last consists of? The feeling of arrival, the end of the perceptual restlessness, readiness to stay, I'm still growing, I feel, but within myself, not expanding now, but deepening. Whatever I am is unacceptable, I'm unacceptable, so shut up, stay away from everybody, they don't want you, you're no use. And the writing, the films, what about all that? Is it just the useless, impertinent generosity? Oh, that, we don't want that, another time, thanks, but no thanks. Feeling that I am in the wrong time, not that I am, that what I produce is for another time, but this isn't a confidence, it's more a fear. Yes, it is suitable that you should go to the trouble for us, but we don't want to know what the trouble consists of. No, that is excessively boring. One publisher's reader has said that the characters in my book never really came to life. My idea was that some of the life must come from the reader, when words are separated from feeling, like words spoken by a budgie. Speaking between is not done by words. All that happened still exists. It is not because of the record of it. The record of it is always fictitious. Fact is done and remains. It is this, it is this, it is this. For instance, did Gwen and Joe sleep together? I'll leave it to you. I suppose they did. Others might suppose they didn't. Incidents don't really change things. I don't mean to say that saying it means the opposite. Just the saying it has very little to do with it, yet something to do with it. We don't really have the words, but that's not all that is. The words have to be used in other ways than for statement. Statement is what is out of place, and yet apparently contradictively, but not so. Statements are what must be said. Not the final statement, I seem to think, but contributory statements. Trouble is, people seem to think you're stating the whole, as if I could be so stupid. Roses are red, violets are blue, that's not saying what I'm thinking about you. The blues as sung on a gramophone record by Mildred Bailey long ago. I remember it, you see. I have to tell you these little facts, dig them out of my storehouse, present you with the information, the reference. I'm trying to get at what I mean by this. If you feel like writing me a long letter or another book about it, please do so. A river is known in its hurry part, you follow it up. I was thinking about the relation of words to the senses. Is smell the only sensation that we don't feel impelled to out into words all the time? Certain kinds of houses have a certain kind of smell, and certain kinds of houses have a certain kind of smell. A garden is in composition in night, smell, and time. I was usually in a great hurry to get things finished, a piece of work completed, sealed, and set there, but nevertheless, I'm going to go on writing for as long as I go on, so don't be surprised if it's inconsistent. And of course, you could ask why, to which I could reply, why not? Or give the slightly infuriating answer slightly bigger children used to give to slightly smaller children, because I thought you would ask.